Hello, welcome to another review video. This time I have the Minichamps Scale 118 diecast version of the Williams Renault FW14 from the 1991 British Grand Prix. This is the car driven by Briton Nigel Mansell. The 1991 Renault-powered FW14 was the first Adrian Newey designed Williams car, and it proved to be quick from the off. It suffered from poor reliability though, and this hampered its title challenge a lot. McLaren's Ayrton Senna won the first 4 races, and basically this was enough of a buffer to win the title that year. The Williams team found a cure for their issues by mid-season and had a better car from that moment on. Although it was too late to properly challenge for the 1991 title, it did lay the foundation of the dominations for the next few seasons. Mansell won 5 races in 1991, one of which came at his home race at Silverstone. In that race, Senna and Mansell battled for the lead on the first lap, but Nigel simply pulled away once he passed the McLaren driver. He went on to score an emphatic win on home ground. His title rival Senna ran out of fuel on the last lap, but was still classified 4th. On the cooldown lap after the race, Mansell saw Senna standing next to his stricken McLaren and decided to pick up the Brazilian for a ride back to the pit. This was not uncommon those days, where drivers hitched a ride on one of their competitors' cars, but this taxi ride became a real iconic moment of the sport. In fact, it's that iconic that it's among the first images you'll find if you Google either Nigel Mansell or the Williams FW14. I have here a Mansell 92 half-scale helmet in a display case I bought some time ago. And significantly, the main picture in the background here is the Senna Mansell moment, even though it's from 91 and the helmet is a 92. So yeah, goes to show how iconic it is. Minichamps released this model back in 2007 already under the old Ayrton Senna collection with its specific box art. The box also features the Williams F1 team logos, meaning it's also part of the Minichamps Williams collection as well. In fact, the car itself is the same that Minichamps released almost a year earlier in 2006. They basically just added the Senna figurine to the already existing FW14 model. Unfortunately, I don't have the box myself, as I bought this model without a box on the second-hand market. And I actually owned this model before, but regrettably sold it. These models are very hard to find now, but I was lucky to find one again at a very fair price, partly because the box is missing, of course. I then also added the aftermarket non-tobacco decals, non-tobacco as tobacco advertisement was not allowed at the time in Britain, so at the British Grand Prix the cars didn't have the tobacco sponsorship on it. They could only use the logos but not mention the brand, therefore there are Camel logos on the car and the Marlboro chevrons on Senna's suit, but no brand names. The model itself came unbranded, without any loose decals added to it. So the decals I used for the conversion are from Museum Collection. These come from Japan, and I'm just going to show you the level of packaging they go through. They really put a lot of effort in packaging it safely. It's really impressive, as you can see here, with the cardboard and the bubble wrap. And the envelope even has this nice little sticker saying it comes from Japan to Belgium. So yeah, really nice detail. The decal set itself is very easy to work with. It comes with a non-tobacco set and also a full tobacco one for some reason if you want to do another conversion. Clearly this model needs the non-tobacco set. I've seen some people using the tobacco set on this model, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah. But yeah, I can certainly recommend this company, the Museum Collection Decals, for all your decaling needs and especially for this model car here. Let's have a look at the model now. Firstly, from an overall standpoint, I think it looks quite good. The car looks nicely proportioned and down to scale, and I can't see anything really wrong with it at first sight. The same can be said of the Senna figurine. It's also removable, the figurine, and the model itself also has removable panels. As you might have noticed on the pictures here, I added a bit of race dirt to the model. I know a lot of collectors don't really like this, but because it clearly depicts the car after the race, I thought it would be or look more realistic, being weathered instead of well, shiny, squeaky, clean. As usual, I also did the race-specific tire markings and wheel detailing. The Senna figurine then is the obvious USP or unique selling point of this model car, and I think it looks really good. It has a generic shape helmet, which is, well, close enough I think. The typical Minichamps brown visor then is of course not so nice, but that's just a minor detail. The pose of the figurine is really well done, it's in a very realistic position. The scale of the figurine is also quite good, something which is not very easy to get it right. Just think of the Minichamps Hamilton Canada 2010 figurine. I mean, yikes. The suit then is really well done too, with all these visible seams. The shoes and hands look really good too. And I really like how the figurine really clenches the airbox tightly. It also fits snugly on the model, and the leg just about fits into the cockpit as well. And I actually moved the Mansell helmet ever so slightly off-centered to the right, so Senna's leg wouldn't rub against it, against the helmet and damage the decal. So yeah, I'm actually really impressed with the figurine. It also doesn't just fall off the model, it's on there pretty firmly. If we then remove the Senna figurine, we're left with the normal Minichamps FW14 model, which had been released before, as I mentioned. The Mansell helmet is nicely replicated. Again, it's the same generic shape, but it's close enough to the array helmet Nigel used back then. The driver figurine is not bad, but yeah, the seat belts on it are not that good. They're just molded into the figurine with the decals over it, but that's just how Minichamps did it back then. The steering wheel is a bit detailed, with the branding on it and then some colored buttons. But what I really like, and that's something you actually can barely see, and these are the FIA logo on the right of the cockpit inside, and then the electrical warning sign, and I think brake balance presets on the left. But yeah, it's a very nice detail which I can appreciate. The window contouring the cockpits could have been better though. The wheels of the model then look pretty good. The wheels rotate and there's steering functionality. The tires also look down to scale, and the 4-spoke rims at the front are nicely done. There are different colored wheel nuts on either side. And as I already mentioned, I added some tire markings to the sidewalls and a bit of aluminium tape on the inside of the rims. The 6-spoke rear wheels then are equally good, and the wide rear tires look very nice too. You can also see the brakes through the rims, although they are not very detailed. The front wing then is nicely done. There are these separate elements, and there's carbon fiber texturing. The end plates then look good too, with this rivet detailing in it. And the same can be said for the rear wing end plates. Too bad the wing elements are not all separate, so it's all fused together. But it doesn't look too bad though. The rear jack attachments on the rear wing pillars look good too. I mentioned there were removable panels on the model. Firstly, the front damper cover can be removed. The inner detail is not extreme and looks okay from afar. I do like the carbon texturing underneath. And the inside of the panel is also this nice powder coated black. The suspension then itself looks okay too. I like the detailing on the pushrod pickup points. Because of the steering functionality, the pickup points on the wheel hubs are a bit toy-like, but well, yeah, it's actually barely visible. The engine cover then is also removable. Again, like the front panel, it has this satisfying black powder coat on the inside, just like in this hull of the airbox as well. The engine itself then is not massively detailed, but it doesn't look bad either. It just lacks a bit of extra detailing, like some wires and hoses and everything. The electrical ECU box is visible here, again with carbon texturing underneath. The velocity stacks on the engine then, they look quite okay. And you can see the exhaust pipes going from the engine to the diffuser. And they actually exit into the diffuser, which is nicely replicated here. The gearbox casing and the rear suspension then looks okay-ish. Again, not extremely detailed. I do like this little radiator here with a rear light on the other side of it. The body panel lines then are not extremely visible, which is good, I think. The panels actually match up with the rest of the car nicely. The seam on the engine cover is the most visible, but it's actually hidden on this model on one side by the Senna figurine. One little mistake, let's say, I found on the Modelcar is this little antenna here on the top of the cockpit. And it's in the real race, the British Grand Prix, it wasn't there. There wasn't a little antenna on the cockpit, but I mean, that's just a minor detail. It doesn't look out of place either on the model, so yeah, I mean, if I'm really nitpicky, I would say it's a mistake, but it doesn't look bad. Okay, I actually found another thing I missed, but by studying the pictures of the car, there's one small detail that Minichamps missed as well, and that I also almost missed. And I already rectified it on the model, and this is going to totally out me as a massive nerd, but here we go. And it's actually about brake ducts, which I also didn't cover yet in the video, but yeah. But on these brake ducts there was branding from Renault and Elf, as you can see on the real picture here as well. And well, luckily I had those decals lying around here. They come from a 1994 Williams 1/20th scale set, so I added it now on the model to make it look even more realistic. And well, yeah, it's just a small, almost insignificant little detail, and especially since the other details like the antenna here are not entirely correct either. But yeah, I just noticed it and decided to add it to the model anyways. In conclusion, I'd say this is a very nice model by Minichamps. The car looks good overall and has some nice details in it too. The opening parts is a nice little gimmick, but a bit unnecessary if you're not going to detail it more, in my opinion. The Senna figurine is an added bonus. Luckily they didn't mess it up, and the model as a whole looks really great. And they really nailed this iconic F1 moment, in my opinion, and I'm really happy, of course, to have this in the collection again. So this was my review of the Minichamps Williams Renault FW14, the Mansell Senna taxi from the 1991 British Grand Prix. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel for more of these kind of videos, and hopefully I'll see you soon in the next one.